This episode of What the Tech is brought to you by Harry's. For guys like you who want a great shave experience at a fraction of what you're paying. Go to harrys.com and get $5 off your first purchase by entering the code WhatTheTech when you check out.
What the Tech?
Hey, buddy, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Major Aaron. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Thorod. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
No, you're not pretty good. Don't lie.
That's true.
How you
I'm
feeling?
all right.
I'm
alive.
What's going on?
I'm just sick.
What'd you get? You got the cold? You got
too much travel. And then, last trip is to Vegas. I got stuck in a plane on the way home, too. I don't think I ever mentioned this. Like an hour and a half delay.
Well, listen, you went to
the
Vegas.
air in the
Well,
plane
that's what happened. You went to a convention, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you got the con.
Yep. Yeah, but it came on the, I've been traveling for like a month and a half, so I'm not surprised it finally caught up with me. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, you weren't at conventions,
That's true.
Yeah, I think.
Well, Vegas, it's dry. The AC's on. I never really got outside. It's Vegas.
Every time they used to have Blog World here, New Media Expo, and I used to go. I used to get whatever disgusting disease these people had because I would have like 105 fever. I was seeing things. I was green. I mean, it was bad. Every time I would get awfully sick. It's brutal. But guys, We're here. We're gonna be doing a show. We're gonna be talking about tech. A lot's happening this week. I know a lot of people are upset about OneDrive, and I want to get Paul's opinion. I have not spoken to Paul about OneDrive all week. I've been dying to talk to him about this. But before we do that, I want to welcome our sponsor. I want to thank our sponsor, someone that you guys have heard about for a long time, and that's Harry's. If you're looking for a great shave, these are the guys to talk about. I've spoken to you about the razors that I use. I've spoken about Harry's. Paul uses Harry's. I use Harry's. But this month, I want to talk to you about something that they're doing, which is great. I know a lot of you guys are not shaving this month because it's Movember. A lot of guys are not shaving. Movember, it's to support research on men's health issues. Harry's is an official partner. Harry's is the official partner of the Movember Foundation and will be donating money to help raise awareness for men's health. Whether you're growing your beard or you want an amazing shave, Harry's is a company you can feel good about. I think the thing that's great about Harry's is it was started by two guys. I mean, literally, it was just two guys that were passionate about creating a better shaving experience. These guys were tired of going to the stores, waiting for this stuff to be locked. They're locked in a cage. They're razors. People have to come get it for you, or you're buying some cheapo thing that you're throwing out within a day and a half. What Harry's is doing, they're creating a better shave. They're doing a great job. These are people that they're high-quality razors. They know what high quality is. I've been using a Harry's razor for, I want to say a year now, year and a half. And there's no looking back for me. I know Paul uses it, and I know a lot of our audience uses it. They also have a great deal for our audience. If you go to harrys.com, and use the offer code, WhatTheTech at checkout, you get $5 off your first purchase, which is great. They have a huge selection of razors. They got the Winston, they got the Truman, they have, which are the two razors, and then they have all the accessories. They have shaving lotions, shaving creams, all this great stuff. Phenomenal people, phenomenal guys. I absolutely love the service, so it makes it easy for me to talk about. And they're supporting a great cause, and that's Movember. They're supporting the official partner of the Movember Foundation. They'll be donating money this month to raise awareness for men's health issues. Go to harrys.com, use offer code WhatTheTech, get $5 off, and I want to thank Harry's for supporting the show and, of course, supporting the GFQ network. Paul, I am growing out my beard. Do you see this thing? I'm not trimming it.
What's going on with you?
I'm not trimming it.
I realize you're having a child and everything, and you're probably questioning a lot of your decisions in life, but come on.
I've totally lost my mind. I want to look as close to a cartoon as possible. I no longer wear sleeves.
Are you upset because people think your brother is Jesus, and you're saying, I could be Jesus too?
You saw his picture.
Yeah.
He looks like Jesus Christ.
He does look like Jesus.
Yeah. A young, slender.
A young Jesus.
Yeah, a young Jesus.
Yeah.
Not
I've
the
cut
one
myself
later on in
shaving
life.
today, by the way.
Did you use your Harry's razor?
I didn't, and that's why, because
that's
when
all.
you switch razors, my face gets all
See what
cutty.
happens.
Can't tell which side.
No, I don't know. I'm just trying something else. I just don't care anymore.
Yes.
I just don't want to do my hair. Why should I do my hair today? It takes me like 45 minutes to do this thing. It's crazy. I'll take the bun off for the post show, and you guys will see what I have to work with. Paul, let's talk about OneDrive before people go crazy and they lose their minds. What's going on with this? Why are they doing everything?
What do you mean?
What's going on?
What, did something happen?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying not to even think about this. So the inside story basically is that I guess we would call them the OneDrive team. I guess it's hard to know what team it was really. The OneDrive team, the Office team, whichever team is responsible for this product. I guess it would be Office 365. Decided that they would give unlimited storage to people if they subscribe to Office 365 through OneDrive. And then a year went by, and we get a lot of questions from people.
Yeah.
When's unlimited storage coming? What's going on? It's stuck at 1 terabyte. As it turns out, a very small number of people had in fact been upgraded. I don't know any of them. I've never heard from any of them, but I guess it has happened. I've not seen it myself. I've been bumped up. I went over 1 terabyte, and they bumped mine up to 10. I think 10 terabytes, something like that. So what happened was Microsoft Finance looked at the business model.
Ugh, that's never good.
Which was something I guess those other guys had never done before. And what they discovered was, when you think about all the storage Microsoft would need for all its hundreds of millions, billions of users, it's not like you have a hard drive in your computer. You have to have redundancy. You have to have geodiverse redundancy. Microsoft can't come to you 6 months down the road and say, hey, those family photos you trusted us with? Yeah, sorry, the hard drive failed. You know how that happens.
Yeah.
It was unsustainable. It was economically unviable, I think was the term I heard. And the other little detail I got is it's kind of interesting because, despite the fact that so many people are on Office 365, millions and millions of users, and they get 1 terabyte of storage or, unlimited, whatever, the vast majority of those people use fewer than 5 gigabytes of storage each.
Yeah.
The vast majority, like 99.9%. So these two, so think about it. They have to provision storage. No one's using the storage. They have to have redundancy. It's a huge responsibility. Ultimately, from Microsoft's perspective, they kind of they literally wish they had never made this promise, because their goal is not to be commodity storage provider for the world. A lot of people did what I did, although I didn't really abuse the system, but free storage on OneDrive. So I said, okay, I'm going to take everything I have and I'm going to pump it up to OneDrive. I'm going to put it's going to be like an archive. I've got all these ripped DVDs. I've got, 20 years of photos. I've got home videos, all my documents dating back 20 years. 1 point something terabytes worth of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's another place to have it. So there it is. It's sitting up there. I never access it ever. I never look at it. I never do anything with it. But Microsoft has to store it, make it redundant, make it geodiverse redundant. I mean, it's very expensive. And I guess they looked at the costs associated with this. I can't vouch for this. I didn't hear this one officially, but I heard from a source that the market costs were projected to increase by 3 times over the next couple of fiscal years. OneDrive usage is not driving usage of other Microsoft brands. So they put it out on all the phones. They said, back up your cameras. No one's really doing it. And all that's
no
bad.
one is really doing it in the sense of general Windows users are not using
General
it.
anyone. No, it's not Windows users, right?
Yeah.
It's Android users. It's iPhone users. It's
Yeah.
Windows Phone users, right? No one's really using OneDrive for photo backup. And by no one, I don't mean literally no one. I mean, it's some small number of people. And of those people that are using it, let's say you were on, like you have an iPhone, and you're backing up your camera phone to iCloud or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to back it up to OneDrive too, right? You can have 2 services on your phone backing up your photos. And I actually do that. So neat. So a bunch of people took them up on that offer, but they're not using other Microsoft products. They didn't start using OneNote. They didn't start
Yeah.
using Office 365. They did, so it just didn't make sense. The timing of this, which was awful, the blog post that Microsoft came out with, came out at 10 o'clock at night I think it was on Monday.
Yeah,
I'm losing track of the days.
I think so. Yeah, I think it was Monday.
This is not what they wanted, right?
Yeah.
They knew this was coming. They knew they were going to make this announcement in November. Two high-profile news publications had found out about it. We're going to go live with their stories, and they wanted to be the ones telling the story. They just weren't ready, and so they came out with what they came out with, and it was just kind of a perfect storm of, oh well.
So where do we go from here as far as a OneDrive user?
Honestly, for most people, you don't have to do anything. Nothing's going to change for you. Very few people are using over a terabyte of storage anyway.
Over a terabyte. Yeah.
Hmm?
Over 1 terabyte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're paying for Office 365, I guess I would still argue, I literally am still arguing, it's an incredible deal. It's a no-brainer. It's $69 a year for an individual. It's $99 a year for a family, up to 5 people. If you do the family version, everyone gets 1 terabyte of storage. If you really wanted to take advantage of Microsoft right now, and I feel like a lot of people do, you could just create Outlook.com accounts, add them to your family, and have an account for photos, have an account for videos, have an account for documents. You can do whatever you want. There's no reason you can't use this stuff. And you could have a terabyte in each if you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Today I took, 5-10 minutes and just researched, meaning I browsed the web, and I looked at, what does it cost if you're on Dropbox? What does it cost if you're on Google Drive? What does it cost if you're on iCloud, on Amazon Cloud Drive?
Actually, that's a great question. Do you have those numbers?
I do. I have. There's an article about it on my site. You can see it. The considering your cloud storage options, and basically what this is from the perspective of people, not companies. It's from the perspective of people using Windows. Not everyone in the world. Like, I don't really care what Mac users have as options, but if you're a Windows user and you use some kind of phone, what do these things look like? Because all of these storage services offer some kind of camera backup. And ultimately, honestly, I should say, it's not just cost, right? It's reliability, it's performance, it's whether you trust that company to store your personal data. And in some cases, you can make the argument, Google, you may not trust. You may not trust them personally because you don't want them stealing your data. You may not trust them because they don't do anything on Windows. So why would you use their storage option? They don't make Google, Windows apps. There's no Windows Phone apps from Google. So why would you even support this company? But if you kind of look at it, it's interesting. The 1 terabyte is kind of the sweet spot, and Google and Dropbox are about $120 a piece for a year. You can spend $20, have a terabyte of OneDrive storage for 5 users, and get full Office for up to 5 PCs. From Microsoft. I mean, it's still an incredible deal. It's still cheaper and it's still better.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't perform as well. It's not as reliable. But, for me, the way I'm using it, nothing has changed because I already started paying for Dropbox, right? And that's the other little bit of maybe advice I have for people. You don't have to pick just one, right? You can have multiple services.
Yeah.
Nothing prevents you from doing that. I'm using OneDrive for archival purposes. I'm using Dropbox for day-to-day. That doesn't have to change. That all works fine. You could look at something like Amazon. I don't really trust them, but $60 a year, unlimited everything. There's your replacement. If all you want is an archive, just to dump your stuff somewhere and not worry about it.
And this is how I look at it. If you want to be safe, as far as knowing that the company is going to be there tomorrow, I would use the one that most people are using because there's less of a chance of a company killing the service.
Sure.
There's a less of a chance Dropbox saying, "Hey, by the way, guys, sorry, we're done."
Well, yeah. So I wish I could remember who gave me this advice. Some guy on Twitter some months ago said to me, and it by the way, it had something to do with OneDrive. At the time, I was complaining about the reliability of OneDrive, and he said, I think that you should stick with services that only do that thing, Dropbox only does storage. I mean, obviously they're starting to get into email and some other small things, but there's storage.
Yeah.
So they get storage and it's important to them. They're going to get it right. Spotify only does music. So you could get a Groove Music Pass. It might be cheaper, but it doesn't work everywhere. And Microsoft doesn't care if that thing succeeds. If it doesn't, they'll get rid of it. Spotify can't take that risk. Spotify is music. So they're going to do the right thing, And you could extrapolate that out to other things, Evernote versus OneNote. I mean, there's all kinds of directions you could go with that. I don't want to get down a rabbit hole here, but when you think about storage, that's an interesting concept. The only trouble I have with that concept is that there are storage vendors that I've never heard of, bobstorage.com or whatever, that, the A Drive, or, companies that are just smaller, where they're probably leasing storage from somewhere else, maybe from Azure or AWS. And I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They don't really have the proven track record. I'm not saying they couldn't, vault into this stratosphere. Maybe someday they can. But today I just don't quite trust them,
So here's a
we
question
shall
for you.
see.
Paul, can you explain why Microsoft killed the camera roll storage?
No. In fact, that's the one thing, the why of that I don't understand.
That's bizarre, right?
I guess, okay, so I'm trying to think about, like, how does this work? So, like, think about, I know on Dropbox, for example, you could put Dropbox on your phone and you could say back up all my photos, and it would work.
Or
And I
Google
believe it's
Photos.
full-size photos. I don't think you even have an opportunity to make them smaller. I think the deal is it will back up your photos.
Yeah.
I think. Now, you pay for Dropbox. Dropbox is, it's full service, full pay, $120 a year for 1 terabyte. There's no real way to go up past that unless you pay for Dropbox Business, So let's just talk about, consumer plans. I looked at my own OneDrive storage. I have, I think it was 120 something gigabytes of photos, but that's over time. That's not camera roll. Camera roll was somewhere, I can't remember, I'm sorry, but I want to say 13 or 17 gigabytes. It was a pretty big number. And that was literally just off of Windows Phone and other camera phones, iPhone or Android. Google, being the other big player here, well, they're not the only other big one, actually, and of course they don't work on Windows Phone. But Google just this year relaunched Google Photos, and it's really good. But if you look at what they're doing, they are offering unlimited storage, but not for full-size photos, right? If the photos are over a certain megapixel number, I don't remember what it was.
On Google Photo, yeah.
Yeah, 12 or something. They'll downsize the photos.
It actually gives you an option in the
I
settings
know
of
it
the
does.
photo
No,
app.
the free version is, yes. No, I know. But if you want to pay for it, you can have full-size photos, right? So I think,
What's the size? What's the free storage? 15 gigs? I think 15.
no, I don't think it's a gig. I think it's a megapixel size of individual photos. No,
It may have changed, but as far as I
think it
know,
is.
as an Android user, I believe it's you got 15 gigs of cloud storage. Now that
no,
includes
but I don't
your
think
emails.
that's the issue. Okay, let me.
It includes emails, Google Drive, Google Photos, and then you're able to, in the settings, tell it, listen, I want to upload, full res, or I want to do limited storage.
No, that's not. No. So Google Photos is different. If you upload at the original size, it counts against your quota.
Okay, that's what it is.
If you upload at
okay.
reduced size, it's free. It's unlimited.
Okay. It's unlimited. Okay, so
And it's a megapixel size of the individual photo. You do make the choice on the phone, but I don't remember if it downsizes to 12 megapixels or.
All right, so I'm looking at my Gmail, for example. And on the bottom it says I have 100 gigs and I've used 21.34, and that's including my Google Photos.
Yeah, I have 130. It's weird. I actually pay for a lot of. Why do I have so much storage? I must pay for. You get 30. What? I don't even know.
I pay for mine. I pay the $1.99 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I do too. So, and that's for 100 gigs.
Yeah.
And you get 30 gigs free. Or this says I have 30 gigs free. Maybe this is because I have a Google Apps accounts or something. I don't know why. Anyway, they offer different things, but.
But I think.
Yeah,
but
I
you
can't
are
find
right,
the setting.
though.
I'm sorry.
You know,
It doesn't matter. Let's not worry about the details.
Yeah.
The point is, it's a per file setting. Now, there's got to be a reason for this, right? I don't really think that, in other words, it's 2015. So I start using Google Photos. And now I'm going to start taking photos on my iPhone or my Android phone or whatever it is. And those photos are going up there. I mean, realistically speaking, what's the difference at this point? I think what they're worried about is, I have a whole photo archive of 130, gigabytes of stuff. I'm going to pump that up there now. I think that's what they're trying to avoid. And I think ultimately Google arrived at the same conclusion Microsoft did. And who knows, maybe this Google photo thing is what set off Microsoft.
Yeah.
Google Photos came out and it wasn't free for photos. And they were like, why wouldn't Google do it free for photos? Is there something they know that we don't know? I mean, I think they've arrived at the same conclusion. The amount of money it's going to take to make this investment doesn't make any sense. The benefit is just not there.
Yeah, so pretty much they don't want people archiving their,
Yeah.
all their pirated stuff and all their movies and putting it on their servers and costing them money.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. They don't. They're not looking at you as a Microsoft user now that's starting to upload stuff. They just don't want you to put your stuff from 20 years ago.
Right. So the thing is, Microsoft didn't have the chance to communicate this the way they wanted. I don't think it would have changed much for some people because obviously what they're communicating is negative. We promised unlimited. We're giving you 1 terabyte. We used to have 15 gigs free. Now we're only going to have 5 gigs free.
See, that's the thing. That's the thing that bothers me, though. The 15 to 5. I think a lot of people are going to be affected by that. Not really the people affected by the 1 terabyte. I think 5 to 15 is not a stretch. 15 gigs is not much. I mean, if I have 21 gigs, and I can tell you right now, 10 of this is probably photos.
So the figure I got was that even the people who have access to 1 terabyte of storage or eventually would have had unlimited storage were on average using less than 5 gigabytes per person. So it seems like the people who had 15 gigabytes of free were probably using some minuscule amount of storage. So I don't know why. It seems like they could have grandfathered people in. It seems like they could have done something that would have been platform friendly and said, if you back up photos on Windows Phone or Windows, I guess, free, right?
Yeah.
It's just a benefit you get for being a Windows user. I think that's something they could have done.
Or here's another thing. Someone in the chat room said this, but I don't know how well it would work because OneDrive is on the desktop. They could have, Hellcat says, they could have maybe said you could only upload certain types of files. Movies and photos and documents. You're not going to upload a 10 gig ISO. They could have done that, but I don't.
If you're suggesting that the world's biggest software company could have figured out a technical solution for solving this problem, I agree 100%.
Yeah,
it is amazing to me that there isn't. But again, like I said, I do believe that they never intended to become storage provider, right? They don't want to be a dumb pipe, to storage. They don't want to dump all your junk here, and we'll keep an eye on it.
What did they want to be by offering, over a terabyte of storage? What were they trying to become?
I don't think the point was literally for anyone to use unlimited storage. Obviously, you can't fill up infinity, right? The point, they didn't really think people were going to put 75 terabytes worth of stuff up in the cloud. What they thought they were going to do was remove a barrier where people said, I can't really use cloud storage because it's not big enough. And they would just not use it. And so I think they thought by just saying unlimited that people would use it for the stuff they were working on every day. They would store their photos, of course. What they didn't expect was for like a family that has a home server that's backing up all of their computers on the network and making multiple backups to dump all those tens of terabytes of backups up on the cloud. They didn't expect the guy who has 150 DVD or Blu-ray movies that he's ripped to pristine 10 gigabyte files with SRT subtitles, et cetera, to back up all that stuff to the cloud. Like it's a little bit naive. I mean, obviously some people are going to do that stuff. And like you said, or like somebody said, you can weed that stuff out. There are ways to prevent people from uploading those kinds of files, of course. Or by having discussions with the biggest abusers and saying, hey, we're a little concerned with what we're seeing here. What's going on?
I mean, you're right. I think this was just a strategic move by the financial department. Said, listen, this isn't worth it for us. Nobody's
it's just that the timing.
Yeah.
No, again, good timing, a good message wouldn't have healed all the problems. I mean, people are going to complain about this, and rightfully so. I get it. But like I said, I don't think this impacts a lot of people.
Raleigh Rob in our chat says, whoever uploaded 75 terabytes of data to OneDrive deserves an award for being the most patient person in the world.
Yeah, I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I when I did my the way I did my upload is I copied all of the files I have, documents, music, photos, videos, etc. From a home server, which is multiple drives, some internal, some external. It's a octopus mess of wires and stupidity. And I copied it to that WD NAS that I bought earlier this year. And from there, I don't know if I mapped the drive or however, I just, I connected it. It's obviously connected over the network to my home computer. And so I pointed OneDrive at it. And that's how I got it up into OneDrive. And then I disconnected OneDrive from it because it was just a one-time copy, literally archiving stuff, so I don't have to deal with it. It took a couple of weeks, I think. It was, it took a little while. But the point was, it's the point of any cloud archive of data. It was just to have it be in a different place so that if my house burns down or
it's there,
some thief runs away with my NAS or whatever, it's somewhere. I know I'm not going to have instant access to it, but at least it's somewhere.
Listen, we talk about this, and this is something that you and I both bond upon, and it's our hoarding of data.
Yeah,
right?
data
MP3s and films and documents, and I keep all my emails.
Soon
and I have
to be an AMC series, data hoarders.
Data hoarders. We could be the host, Paul.
I'll be like lolling around on top of a pile of hard drives, like a beached whale.
Here, you want to see something? Hold on. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
Wait, this is nothing. I have about...
I know. No, I have a lockbox in my cellar that's full of hard drives I need to wipe. Do you know how hard it is and how time-consuming it is to wipe hard drives, especially legacy hard drives, like IDE hard drives? And it's... What a freaking disaster.
And then if you look up there... Let me see if I could switch it. All the way up there, I have about 30 more hard drives.
Yeah.
And so what I did the other day, I went through all my hard drives.
Right.
To see what I have. I mean, some of these are like 10 gig hard drives, IDE. So I went through everything, and you know what? Most of them were crap, and other ones, I found some cool stuff. I found some pictures from high school. I found songs. I found documents that I had. I found emails. I mean, I found stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Took it, put it on.
Yeah.
Put it on a stick here, backed it up to the cloud.
Put it on a zip drive. Oh, wait.
Yeah. I put it all into a Jazz drive.
A Bernoulli drive.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's crazy, right? Like, I have so much stuff, but I can't get rid of these hard drives. What am I going to do with a 10 gig hard drive? Like, what am I going to do with this
thing? Drill a hole into it and throw it in the trash.
Yeah, it's gone. I've wiped it. I've wiped
so what I got to do?
drive.
Yeah, you gotta go through them, copy the stuff off. So I guess you've done that for.
I did all of it. Yeah, but I can't.
Oh,
throw
then
it
destroy those things. You can't leave those around. That's data waiting to be stolen. Or get a giant magnet.
There's nothing on them. I wiped everything out. I did this 2 weeks ago.
Why
I
do you
went
still
through
have
everything.
these things? Throw them away. What's wrong with you? You're a data hoarder. You're not even a data hoarder. You're like a no data hoarder.
I'm a no data. There's nothing on. I'm just storing onto. Do
you have a room full of floppy disks somewhere too? Like a print, like just a was it you who told me the story about the paper? The person who buys all the paper for the printer they don't need. Was that you?
No, that's not me.
Somebody told me a story about someone's parent or someone who, they have little routines they go on, and at some point they need a lot of paper for work, so they used to buy like a box of paper at Staples, and they still buy or had bought a ream of this paper every week for like,
because it's on sale,
years. So there's a room in their house that you could build a paper fort out of, because there's it's like kindling for the fire that's coming.
So now the next thing I have to go through are these.
Yep, at least those are easy to break.
Here you go.
Yeah, I have a lot of those too.
Yeah, try to do that on a laptop.
I did it one time, get rid of a bunch of that stuff.
But I mean, like, these are things that... Putting all this away. Now I'm distracted by all the crap that I have here. But, I mean, I've been hoarding this stuff for years, and now I'm slowly starting to get rid of them, and I'm starting to back everything up on the cloud, and, sure. I'm deleting stuff now, but I don't even know what my point was with this at this point. What was I saying? What were we saying, Paul?
What were you saying about what?
Yeah, about hoarding all the data.
Hoarding?
Hoarding.
Oh, hoarding.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I think, but the general statement was just that we had talked before about how we were
Yeah.
data hoarders, and we are in a way. I mean, data hoarding is a victimless crime, right? Like you're not. Well, you're actually taking up some physical space, but normally it's not too much space, and why throw it out, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I have. It's funny. Things get pushed to the side really easily. Like I have an external, not an external, a data drive in my desktop computer, which I'm not even using anymore. That's 2 terabytes. It's got all kinds of backups and stuff on it. There are photos, there are all kinds of stuff that hasn't made its way over to that NAS, that hasn't made its way up to the cloud. It's just on there. It's literally only in that one place, and that's dumb. And at some point, I got to go through it. But I keep thinking this, and then I'll open the file and I'll go through the first couple of backup folders, and then you run into one thing where it's like, geez, like this is going to take a while,
Yeah.
and you just kind of lose interest in it. Plus, I don't know. I don't know how you do this. I think that was the one nice thing about the OneDrive thing. You were like, I don't have to worry about it. Just throw it up there and I don't have to worry about it. If I could take this hard drive and just dump it up there.
Well, you know what was
at
the
least it
thing
would
that I
be
really
there.
liked? And I went to go use it, and then they took it away, was the placeholders. Right? You couldn't use it on 7.
Yeah, this is why my initial foray into non-OneDrive services started this year. I changed the way I do things to work around this limitation of not having placeholders, in this case in Windows 10. But, there are these moments where the ability to traverse everything in OneDrive, find the thing you're looking for, make it available offline, locally on the computer, and then use it was life-changing. It was amazing. It was such a productivity boon. It was so great. And it's just not happening anymore. And it's,
Yeah.
it stinks.
So, Paul, I have I've been battling Windows 10 for the last 2 days, and I want to talk about my experience and what I've
Let me
learned.
get the rum before you start the story.
Yeah. Go get the rum, because this is a
This is
story.
going to be a three. This is going to be a 3-finger story. I can already tell.
Yeah. But before I go into the story, I want to remind everybody we do a bonus show here. Following the show, we do a show called What the Talk, and just Paul and I talking about whatever. Whatever comes to mind. We have Paul does a Throwback Thursday or a Throwback Tuesday, depending on which day we're recording. I rant and rave, and then we say goodbye. We hug and we say goodbye, and then we start over our lives. If you want to watch it, you go to Patreon.
A lot of talking people off of cliffs, really.
Yeah. If you want to watch a bonus show, you go to patreon.com/whatthetech. That's patreon.com/whatthetech. You can fund us. You can give us whatever you want to give for the show, and you get access to the show. And if you're watching live, you can stay tuned following the show. We do the show live each and every week. So, Paul, I'm building a new production machine, and I've been doing my homework on, getting the right, CPU and the motherboard and everything. So I ended up going with a Haswell instead of a Skylake.
Yes. Yep.
And the reason why I did this is because the Haswell E's, which is the last Haswell that they had, I got the 6-core. They have more lanes of PCI bandwidth. There's 28 lanes on the Haswell E's, when Skylake has...
Explain why this is important to you.
This is important for me because we use a beefy video card, and we use multiple capture devices, capture cards. So we have we have 2 AJA Kona 4 capture cards in here that do 4 SDI inputs each, 4 SDI in, 4 SDI out.
Okay.
I need a motherboard that does 8x on the 16x channels, 16x slots, which most do not. This is a misconception here.
Yeah.
You can't take your video card. There's a reason why your video card goes in the top PCIe slot. You can't take it and put it in another one, unless you could do 8x. So I found the motherboard, I found the CPU. That was a whole thing. I got this thing set up, and my whole thing was, do I put Windows 10 on this? Right. Do I go to Windows 10? Well, what won't work? What will work? Well, everything should work, right? New hardware, new software. Someone in chat room saying I could have gotten a 40 lane Haswell E. I could have, but I don't want to spend $600 on the CPU.
Sure.
So I build a machine. Things are fine. Stalls. That was a whole rigmarole. I couldn't find my Windows 7 disk because I have that Balmer edition of Windows 7. The key is not accepted on the Windows 7 ISO finder, Microsoft's website.
Yeah.
Unless you put it in all capitals. And guess what, Paul? It says that, hey, listen, you qualify to get an ISO of SP1. Except it's not in English.
Oh.
You do not have the choice to pick an English version of the ISO.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and I'm baffled by it. And now I'm thinking, I actually had to bring the computer to my wife to read the languages because I thought maybe my brain's not working. I just don't see English here.
This isn't English, is it?
Yeah. It gave me every language known to man on this planet except for English. So that didn't work. I finally found my CD. Of course, I had put it in my Windows 8.1 sleeve instead of the Windows 7 sleeve. Install Windows 7. Install Windows 7. Upgrade to SP1.
Wait.
Yeah.
So you could, you should have installed Windows 10 directly, and then.
Oh, I tried. It didn't work.
It didn't work. Okay.
No, that was the first thing I tried.
I'm sorry. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
First thing I tried, I went to install Windows 7. I made a bootable drive. Did not work. Said, no, that's not a valid key. So now, I install 7. Upgrade to, install some of the drivers to get the LAN working, the network cards working. And upgrade to SP1. Go to Windows 8. Go to Windows 10. Install Windows 10. Now I'm up and running. This is great. Everything's going to be good. I got to install drivers now. Go to install drivers. Drivers are failing left and right. When I go from Asus's website, it tells me, I get the thing, this doesn't work on this version. Sorry. Doesn't work on this version. Sorry. So now I have to find, beta versions of the drivers, which I don't know why. Install some of those drivers. And then I had the big blue screen of death issue with my video card. Over and over again, the computer starts crashing with the video card. Am I the only one that can't use Windows 10?
Yes.
I'm the only one. I'm baffled. I've had polar opposite reactions. Up until now, it's been totally positive.
Right.
And I figured it out. It is, if you are upgrading from 7 to 10, it's flawless. Everything works. You have no problems. I will not suggest doing a clean install of this to people. It doesn't work.
I don't know what to say here. This is very strange to me.
It's actually shockingly strange because normally the whole thing is, do a clean install. You won't have any problems.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is Microsoft's, because they got a little, they clamped down on security and stuff like that on this version.
Yep.
I don't know if they're, it's just the operating system freaking out and doesn't want you to install stuff that doesn't have the right certificates or it's not updated drivers, or it's the manufacturers not making proper drivers.
Right. I don't either.
So here,
I think it's
like I'll give you this example. The CD that came with the Asus motherboard, I have to install the driver from the CD because the network card doesn't work for me to download stuff. Guess what happens when I put the CD in?
I don't even know what to say.
It tells me that it tells me that the operating system is not supported.
Right.
I mean, that's weird, right? I mean,
you have problems that no one has ever had.
Yeah.
I just don't even know what to say. Like,
but it was like one after another. It's
so weird. Like, yeah.
It was so bizarre. Now I got it working. I mean, I had to spend, about an hour trying to find the drivers and I had to find some like gimmicked version of QuickTime to install.
Yeah, right.
Because QuickTime, by the way,
I had heard of the QuickTime thing. I'd seen
they fixed
passing
the problem.
reference to. Yeah.
They did fix the problem.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah. But it was just like one after another. I'm like, come on, guys, just come on. And I finally got it working. But I'm curious to know from our viewers, from people that are using this,
because you're clearly not going to get it from me.
Yeah, because but have you done a total wipe, total clean install?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, on many
machines. Yeah.
Has your experience been different from a clean install compared to an upgrade?
Different in what way?
More issues, less issues, or nothing.
If it was a clean machine, no.
Yeah.
Not no.
This is
No,
the
I mean,
second
obviously,
one.
if you have an actual heavily used machine and you upgrade it, you can have a better experience by wiping it out from there.
Yeah.
But no, if you just go back to Windows 7 like you've done, to Windows 10 from there versus resetting it. No, it's the same.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's the clean installs that are giving me the trouble here.
It's weird.
Yeah. I have a machine here. I'm trying to do an upgrade. I can't do an upgrade. It goes to install Windows. It installs it, and it's doing the initialization, and then it just freezes, and
Well,
then it reverts back.
I feel bad that you're not coming with us to the future, Andrew.
No. Well, I am in the future. I'm on Windows 10 now. I got it working. Everything is fine. Now I just need like a 2 days of downtime where I could convert all my, bring everything over. Because I need 2 days to set up.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that there are driver issues. And the Asus one, that's an Asus issue. The Asus issue is an Asus issue. AMD, that's a problem on their own with their drivers. But I just don't understand why there would be driver issues. If it worked in 8.1, why isn't it working now?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to, right? And that's the way it's supposed to just work. So
It should just work.
Yeah.
First time I had this problem. Like to this extent. It could just be that it's newer hardware also. That could also be the problem. I wanted, we always praise it. I wanted to give an example of a disaster situation with installing this thing. The installation of Windows is easy breezy, but it's these bizarre driver conflicts that I had on the motherboard and the video card that baffled me.
I just have never. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I over the summer I did a bunch of different machines. There were a couple that had issues, and I had particular issues with smaller tablets, which don't factor into this. Not a lot of desktop computers, right? Those are not as common. And I'm trying to think like which machines did I really have problems with. I mean, your machine was a little different because you wanted to wipe it out anyway. A clean install should have been fine. I'm usually that is the best experience. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say.
I don't know.
I just watched this unfolding like a slow motion car crash. Sorry.
I don't know. It was interesting that there were this many issues this early on.
Right.
But the other machines, absolutely no problems. And people are going to give me crap now because I talked bad about Windows 10. How dare I?
You're not allowed to do that.
How dare I?
Yep.
I put an Asus sticker on my Mac just to piss people off. Powered by Asus. I put that on.
I once put an Apple sticker on a giant Dell laptop and received the ire of someone from Microsoft.
Yeah. So, Paul.
Yep.
To move on to something a little bit more positive here.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, I have a lot of questions here from people right now. What services are you using exactly for your cloud storage?
I use Dropbox and OneDrive.
Those are the only two.
Yeah, I mean, I back up the server to CrashPlan still, but I don't add anything to the servers anymore. So I've really kind of moved away from that. I don't remember exactly when I got the NAS, but and I should have a NAS too, right? So the NAS, I sort of expected that with the NAS I would do some kind of cloud backup from there, and they have a couple of services, but there's nothing good, and I haven't enabled that yet. And so right now it's kind of a manual thing, but whenever I migrated to the NAS May-ish, somewhere mid-year, I think, I just left the server down there, and I will leave it down there through, early next year, and then I'm just going to take it apart and break it, and that's going to be the end of it. The truth is I just don't really use it. So evaluating what happened to OneDrive, I thought, well, does this really change anything for me? I mean, I'm upset about it. And the truth is it doesn't, So I pay for Dropbox is $120 a year, and I pay for Office 365 Home, which is $99 a year. And actually, I should say I pay for it's still called Office 365 Small Business Premium. It's $150 a year, but I only do that because I write about Microsoft, and I don't use that storage. I don't really use the account very much, so I don't want to put that into the list because I don't really use it. But I do this for a living, so.
So here's another question. Any news on the fall update for Windows 10?
Yeah. So the new build was released today. It's potentially the final build. They're probably going to announce it sometime in the next week to 10 days.
Is this from your experience? Is this the version of Windows that they wanted to release, or did they cut back on this? This is it. Yeah.
Oddly enough, it's not 100% the version. Remember, it was supposed to be October for one thing. The big missing piece that I can identify is extensibility to Chrome with add-ins, and that's not happening until next year now, which is really unfortunate. It's getting close though.
So here's the interesting thing. What for us, we'll notice it, right? We'll notice, things that are different. But what's going to be the main feature, the main thing that people are going to notice if they're just everyday users
in the fall update?
In the fall update, yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't say there's no huge big box feature. Remember, or you should know that between July and today, aside from the stuff that's been going on with Windows 10, there are all these apps. And if you look at all the apps, the Mail app, the Calendar app, the Groove app, Maps, etc., all of them have been updated multiple times, several times each at least. And so some of those changes are monumental. I mean, if you were to compare the Mail app today to what it looked like back at the end of July, huge change. Edge has actually improved a lot, although, again, it's not going to be quite where I want it to be. So those things collectively, I think, are a big deal, right? You could point to these little features like, Groove supports, what do you call it? No, jeez, I'm losing my mind. Not lossless playback. The ability to, gapless playback, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sick today. Groove has they've slightly evolved the UI. There's made some other changes, these are little things, right? But collectively, they all kind of add up. I mean, as far as the OS itself goes, it's a much prettier and more consistent thing. It was really it was weird and white and light gray looking when it first shipped. Now they've injected a lot of color into it if you want it there. And so if you want, colored window titles and so forth, that stuff's all there. So it's really just refined. I think the big lacking bits from July were primarily in the apps, especially Edge. And most of those have been fixed, again, with the exception of Edge. So
yeah,
it's just a more mature, kind of thing.
And then as soon as that comes out, Paul, guess what? Everybody's going to talk about the next major update.
Well, yeah, and we're already talking about it. Yeah. I mean, so they're working on a bigger update than this for mid-year next year, codenamed Redstone.
And that's going to be the 10.1 style update, right?
Yeah.
If
we're not going to call it that.
I know, but if we're going to compare, 8 and 10.
Yep.
Apple TV. Did you get it?
Yep, I did.
And?
Did you get it?
I did not.
I like it. I've tried to coerce my children into using it. They primarily watch Netflix on the TV, and I've caught them using the Roku device. I may actually
you caught them.
I may have to pull it out of there. I mostly like it. It's unclear whether they will ever support 4K video, which for me is not a concern today.
Not on that version.
So you're saying that the HDMI port can't support it? Or the
I don't think the hardware on that could support it.
I know you need a certain, gen of HDMI port for that.
1.4? I think it's 1.4.
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just say this. I mean, first of all, the performance is great. That's been a serious problem on Apple TV, especially as we, kept going forward in time. The remote is mostly better. You don't have to point it right at the thing, which was also a huge problem with the original, the previous versions. It's a little tough to get used to. The top of it is kind of a little touch thing, right? You swipe around and stuff. And there's some really delicate maneuvering you have to do on there to get it to work really well. So you can, swipe up, swipe down, swipe left, swipe right to navigate around menus. Also to kind of scrub on a video. I find that to be a little imprecise, right? But there's this weird gesture. If you press right on the edge, the right or left edge of that area, it will jump forward, I think, 10 seconds or back 10 seconds. You have to hit it just right. It's very hard to do properly. And the other thing is, I wish I had it in front of me so I could show you this, but it's very easy to turn it upside down. And so when you do, of course, you're swiping and nothing's happening because you're on the bottom of it. And then you hit the button for menu or whatever, and it does whatever. I can't remember how the things are oriented, but you set it off in some direction you didn't intend. So, it's mostly better. I mean, obviously the previous remote was like a stick of gum. You could lose it in the couch very easily. I have actually dropped this into the cushions of the couch twice already, so it still kind of happens. It's thin.
but that's the never-ending story about the Apple remote.
Yeah, it's still worse than the other remotes in the house. It is better than the previous remote. But the performance is great. I think the UI is great. There's not a lot going on with apps yet that I care about. I put Netflix on there. I tested a few other apps. I'm not really going to use any of them. Yeah. Some of the apps I use are absolutely worthless, like TripAdvisor app. You kind of visit cities and they show you the top 10.
So you got Zillow, you got TripAdvisor, you got all those weird.
I don't care about stuff
use?
like that.
Is there any use for that?
I don't think so. The Airbnb thing might be interesting. I haven't done this yet, but some of the stuff you'll see on Airbnb will show you like a virtual spin around, the apartment or something. That's kind of a cool idea. I've not really played with that yet.
But I mean, so here's the other thing. On Monday, I think it was Monday, they released a bunch more apps.
Yeah.
I think they released like another 1,000 apps for this thing. Have you gone back since the
yeah.
initial?
Oh yeah. No, I've gone back many times. The other thing that's happened in this week has been as the App Store gets padded out, they've started adding stuff to the menu, and so they have like top charts now for paid and unpaid apps, and then they have categories, and so they have enough apps where they can split them into categories finally. Because when it first launched, it was like 18 apps or something. It was pretty small. It's still, for me, just the basics, right? Ultimately, I'm there to play Apple content, and I do have a lot of that. And you can get, I keep wanting to call it Roku, but you can get Netflix going. I don't have Hulu, but you could. It has yet another way to watch things like HBO, Stars, not Cinemax, but Showtime, whatever. I don't quite understand the point of this stuff, I guess, other than, well, I think most people have these things, HBO being the one exception, they have cable.
Yeah.
So I guess if you put this on a second TV, it would be like another way to access content from HBO or something, or I just don't do that stuff. I don't see the point. If I'm going to watch HBO, I'll just do it on the TV, like on the cable. I don't know. It's pretty. I haven't tried a single game. I couldn't care less about games. I've kind of zipped through to see what they have, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think what it comes down to. The biggest complaint that I got was that the podcasting app is gone, and a lot of people, and I was shocked. A lot of people listen to podcasts on the Apple TV, and I could kind of understand why. But I guess Apple.
I believe it's coming back.
You believe it's coming back?
I heard. I saw someone had an article where it's actually it's in there hiding or something. Like I think it's coming back.
Maybe they removed it to see what people are going to say. Because Apple likes to do that.
Ready or something. I think it comes back.
So the podcast app is gone. But as far as gaming goes, the people that I've spoken to that have this, everybody's response was the same. It was, there's not much now, but I could see how this could be done really well.
Okay. I mean, I don't think Apple has a particular advantage when it comes to games versus, say, Amazon or Roku, other than the million or whatever number of developers that are out there that have created games for iOS, and maybe they have a good story around, you've already made an iOS app, here's how you can get it on Apple TV. It looks like a lot of the apps that are in the store are just iOS apps. It looks like they're just kind of ported over for the big screen, which is fine. It's fine. But I don't know. So far, it's one of those things. Like I really want to have one device, that does everything. And I don't know. Are we ever going to see the Amazon content stuff on there? Are we ever going to see the Google content stuff on there, other than YouTube? I think, are we ever going to see Microsoft?
But the Apple stuff has the most. If you look at all of them, I think that the Apple stuff has the most as far as network content goes.
Yeah, but I just watch that on TV. I don't quite understand the point of it.
It's better quality.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that could be. I guess the issue is this, on a DVR with a cable system, I will go through the listing and I will set up my recordings. And after then, I don't care what channel it's on. In fact, I might not even know what channel it's on. I searched for the show, I found it, set up the recording. I don't know that it's on AMC or TNT or whatever. I have no idea.
Was that
Don't
you?
care.
What was that?
What's that?
Did you hear that?
No.
You did not hear that.
Nope.
I probably am having a stroke.
Okay.
I just heard music playing somewhere.
Oh, no, I did not.
Nobody else heard that right now. Like a classical instrument just playing.
Really?
I swear to
Like
you.
a trombone or something?
Yeah, like something was happening. It was like a big announcement.
No,
It was
I
like
didn't hear
dun
it.
dun 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 dun. No, nobody.
All
All right. I've gone off the deep end.
I might read a review of a TV show in the New York Times or something and say, oh, I'll record that, and I'll walk out into the den, I'll turn on the TV, I'll search for it, and I'll record it. And then I don't care. And so when I sit down in front of the Apple TV and it says, hey, there's a CBS app.
Yeah.
Do I watch anything on CBS? I actually have no idea. I don't think so, but I don't know.
I
really
what they're
don't know.
hoping? I think initially you're going to get a lot the same thing that happened with, by the way, everybody heard it except for you.
Really?
Yeah, some people saying it was a violin, some people are saying clarinet.
Wow. I didn't hear it.
I heard the whole chat room. I heard it. I think they're going to get the same initial thing that happened with with smartphones, where you're downloading every single app out there.
Right.
Because it's not there, because you've never had this many options. I think that's going to be the response for a lot of people.
I don't do
And
that
I've
on my
done that.
phones. I find that to be cluttery.
You didn't do it initially? I think a lot of people did. When you first got the iPhone, you just went through that app store, just clicked buy everything.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I mean, but at some point you'll reset your phone and then you think, well, do I need every version of Angry Birds ever made? Probably not, because I've never actually played any of them, or I haven't played any of them in 7 years or whatever it is. At some point you kind of just grow up about it. I mean, I sort of reflexively for a while would install like a handful of games on my phones. But the truth is, I don't play games on my phone, so
yeah,
I just don't bother with that anymore.
I think it's
Who
going to be the
cares?
same response. I think a lot of people are going to go and they're going to download this app and that app and this app and that app, and then eventually they're going to realize, well, most of this is crappy,
Right.
and they're not going to do it. I heard it. Mozart loves Windows 10. That's what somebody said. So it probably came from your computer, and you can't hear it because
From
of the
my
mix
computer.
minus. Yeah, it probably can't hear it because of the mix
How
minus.
could it have come from my computer?
I don't know.
All right. Well,
Maybe this is all imaginary. This is not real. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I believe the sound was made. I didn't hear it.
But I'm starting to believe it wasn't. I'm starting to think none of us heard the sound, and we've conditioned
my
ourselves.
secret plan is working.
Yeah, hypnotizing us one note at a time.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I've from what I've heard people say, it's a nice box. It's much quicker than the previous gen.
Oh yeah, yeah. It really
it's
is.
like night and day. But is it better? And this is my question. I have an Amazon Fire TV. Is it better than the Fire TV? Should I consider this over the Fire TV?
I don't see. I don't think most people decide that way, right? You either are or are not in the Apple ecosystem. So if you've purchased a bunch of content from Apple, you're going to get one of these things. If you haven't, like if you literally have bought nothing from Apple, I can't think of a single reason why you'd get this. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
A device like a Roku, the Miracast thing, I haven't tested it in a while, but last time I tested did not work very well. But from a compatibility perspective, it and Amazon TV, Fire TV do Miracast. They support a lot of services right in the box. The Amazon one, like the Apple one, is sort of oriented toward its own services. Although, by the way, I give Apple props. You can arrange those icons however you want on the screen. You can put Netflix first. You can put YouTube next.
Yeah.
You can move Apple stuff down to the bottom. You can't do that on the Amazon one. Amazon is Amazon, and oh look, there are other apps. It's really oriented to Amazon, which I kind of don't. Which is probably the reason I don't use it. I think Roku is probably the most compatible. Roku 4 is coming out any day now, right? It's coming out soon.
Yeah.
It will do 4K. It will do 4K at 60 frames per second.
So you need HDMI 2.0 for that.
Okay. I don't have it, so it doesn't matter. But
And a
it
4K
will
TV.
hopefully perform, as good as these other new boxes. I guess we'll see. And I think they have the best compatibility overall. Except you don't get Apple stuff. But you can get Amazon on there. You can get Google on there, at least the movie stuff, and YouTube, not music. Obviously, all the big stuff is there too. So
yeah. I'm curious to see how they further develop this. What apps we
I
get.
am too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really
It's a
curious.
nice little box. It's got its quirks, but it's okay.
Excellent. All right, Paul. It's that time of the day. Time to wrap it up. Go to our website,
Time to curl up in a ball and start crying.
That's it. That's how I begin and end my day. I just take all my clothes off and I just curl up in a ball and start crying. That's how I end every day. And then I wake up and I stare at the wall and I wait till it's time to go on the air, and that's what I'm doing right now. This is what I look forward to. Go to our website, gfknetwork.com. You can follow us. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're everywhere podcasts are available. Subscribe to the show, guys. It's a big help. We have an audio version, an HD version, an SD version. We're everywhere you could download a podcast. For all things Paul Thurrott, go to thurrott.com. One of my favorite websites. I'm on there every single day. Yeah, one of my favorite websites. News and analysis for tech enthusiasts.
Sure.
Mr. Paul Thurrott. I got a mug. I bought a mug.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I have a mug too.
I bought my mug.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people ask me where I got my mug because I had the mug last week on one of the shows I was doing. They're like, "Wait a minute, where'd you get that Thurrott mug?" You know where you could go? You go to the Thurrott store.
Let me tell you where you can go, buddy.
Go to thurrott.com. Look at that. You got a beer stein. You got the mug. You got a bunch of stuff here. So if anybody's interested in getting a Paul Thurrott mug, guess what? You can go to the website and get it. And that's it, guys. If you're watching live, stay tuned. We're going to do our post show. If you're not, you go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/whatthetech, and you can watch it there. Until next time, bye-bye for now.